Buffett has been selling precipitously of major stocks, a lot of bank stocks he's been selling, Apple. Um, yeah, he's been moving into cash and buying treasuries, which maybe align. Maybe you and Warren Buffett are on the same page because it seems like he's a little afraid of the markets. Was that what
Well,
you're seeing out?
he's obviously not seeing any opportunities. That's kind of a given, right? Because if he thought it was a good time to get in, he would not be sitting on the sidelines.
Right.
So, and I think we can it's not too much of a stretch to say that maybe he's even fearful of what's going on. Now, he's a
Mhm.
conservative financial guy as well, so
I always think about the last time we were in a pretty devastating financial situation in 2009, and he was not bearish on the stock market. I don't know if you remember, but he was one of the cheerleaders and kept saying, "There's still a lot of value here. There's still a lot of value. Stay in U.S. stocks." I mean, he went out kind of on the PR tour and really told people to stick it out. I haven't seen that from him now. I'm not seeing that same gusto and exuberance that he had in
no, and
2009. And I think to your earlier point, he looks for opportunities, and I just don't think he's seeing any right now.
he's clearly not seeing any opportunities, but he's also in a different position, right? Because he's managing a lot of money, money that I can't even comprehend. Right, the amount of money that I forget the stats, but the taxes he paid was like 5% of all the taxes in the United States, or 5% of the corporate tax, maybe. But he's such a big piece of our puzzle that he's got to be able to think of it a little bit differently. And I'm trying to piece this together for myself and my family. And that's really where I think our audience is going to be focused as well, is because what are you going to do? You're not going to be in the position of Warren Buffett, and he's going to have restrictions and opportunities that we just won't be able to comprehend. Maybe one day I'll be there, hopefully, but I highly doubt it. I mean, that guy's just on a different playing field, right? So, but it is clear that he's not bullish on the stock market,
Right.
right? That's actions speak louder than words. You don't
Right.
need to see anything else other than the fact that cash position. That was just, I saw it all over my news feeds, as I'm sure you did. This was only yesterday or 2 days ago that it came out. So
I have a question here, and it's from a question from YouTube. You don't need a minimum wage, you need a minimum income. This is quoting Warren Buffett. Instead of pushing for a higher minimum wage, Buffett champions the earned income tax credit government program that supplements low wages with tax credits. I think later he sort of dives into that he wants to pay people at least $15 an hour, which is about 31,200 per year. What are your thoughts on this idea, Jake?
well, California tried it first, doesn't seem to work. Right. I don't I It's something that may have short-term benefits, but when you're just increasing the money supply, it's not going to do anything to improve living standards for anyone. It's like when these stimulus checks, when the trajectory that this precious metal market is on right now started as soon as we started printing stimulus checks in 2020. Right,
Right.
as soon as free money started going out the door, that put precious metals into this bull run stage. Now, of course, there's a delay, and I wish we would have seen it a little quicker. But I mean, that there's an
Yeah, I
argument.
mean,
I've heard arguments be made on either side.
it's interesting. I remember in 2020, for a very short amount of time, because people couldn't go out, credit card debt actually dropped. There was a short time period for about a year that credit card debt was going down, and it was because people weren't going out and they sort of like got back to their roots. Um, but actually, that idea that the government was giving money, actually, I think people in their mind thought it was just never ending. And so once it opened back up, the government stopped giving money. Credit card debt now has actually soared to a level we've never seen before. So we train them to accept this money, and now we have now we're in a position where, one of the richest guys in the world thinks we should do it again. And I think, I think probably his intentions are noble, except that the idea is that when you do, you create all this stimulus out there. In the long run, it doesn't benefit anyone. And I will tell you from someone that I know people that grew up on kibbutzes in Israel, which a kibbutz is a communal living environment for people. They have them in different places, but they have them in Israel. And my experience with that and people that have lived there is that it was noble in the 60s and 70s, and everybody would work. But in recent years, what ended up happening for friends that I know that lived in this environment is that you had the top 20, 30% that worked, and the other one, the young kids would just say, "Well, I'm just getting money. I don't need to work." And they wouldn't work. And so this kibbutz
Mhm.
idea, which is a noble idea, which I think Warren Buffett's idea is probably noble intentions. In the end, you just have the 20, 30% doing all the work, and it creates a dissension between
Always.
people.